I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
Everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning of this video and, well, my entire afternoon. Just lots of apologies, period. I wonder if social media is out there causing trouble in just intentionally. It's like everything is a fucking trial. Isn't it 2024? I don't think I had this kind of trouble doing live streaming and stuff, 20 years ago when we goofed around with it when it first came out. It really is stupid, folks. But it's all stupid. SHTF is all around us. Do you agree or would you argue against it? Are we in big trouble? Are you prepared for the trouble? Do you expect trouble to come from regular people, from the government, or from foreign armies or foreign invaders? Let's start with this, though. The FBI appears to be investigating itself. That's right. The FBI has placed 5 of their agents on leave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And folks, guess what? A grand jury has been impaneled, and they're going to consider criminal charges. Did you know that? Yes. Are the 5 of them patsies, or are the 5 of them Republican FBI patsies that they're going to sacrifice? It is a bizarre bit of news, folks. We haven't heard anything about Trump's assassination. Well, the FBI tried denying there was an assassination attempt. The FBI and its leader, Chris Wray, tried saying, no, Trump was hit by shrapnel, not a bullet. Right, but now all of a sudden they have criminal charges coming. I'm not buying it. If they're going to do this, who are they letting get away with it? I have too many, it's the level of trust, or rather distrust, that the government has basically made us get. It's their fault. I used to trust the government to do its job, at least. Not anymore. In fact, I have a lot of evidence of the government not doing its job, doing the exact opposite that they should. Did you know, folks, that a Venezuelan gang is taking over portions of Aurora, Colorado? Aurora, Colorado. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, yeah, there was a kid named James who dyed his hair orange, looked like the Joker, took lots of drugs that made his eyes really big, was accused of going into a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, and killing people. If I remember the conspiracy theories back then, there were reports of multiple shooters inside the theater. But ultimately, they had a patsy. Anyways, back to the thing. Venezuelan street gangs in Aurora, Colorado. You've probably heard about them, making life difficult in an apartment complex. People not wanting to live in that apartment complex. Well, they're doing more than that, folks. Not only are they taking over complete apartment buildings and sections of town, they're taking over stores. They are blocking and protesting in city streets. It is happening right now in America. Right now in America, folks. They're trashing neighborhoods. They're intimidating, assaulting people, and they're happy with it. This is the exact type of shit they could not get away with in Venezuela, which is why they were in jail in Venezuela until the leader Maduro, the communist, released his criminals and told them, you go to America or we're going to kill you. Well, here they are. It's in our country, folks. It's in our cities. I've already said, if I see this sort of shit in my world, my 10-mile radius, I will protect America. Period. There's no fucking excuse. Illegals do not have the same rights you and I do. They have the right to get the fuck out of the country. They have a right to shut the fuck up on their way out. They have a right to get out faster or even faster. They have a right to be dead if they continue to assault and hurt people. That's how I feel about them. I don't have to glamorize it. I'm not glorifying it, but I'll tell you what, they're earning the death sentence for threatening and hurting people. In my state, the great state of Florida, and even California, if you are threatened with great bodily harm and injury or death, you have a right to defend yourself. And these people, by their actions, continue to show me that that's exactly what is going on. They are threatening people with great bodily harm and injury. It's going to come, folks. When it happens, what are you going to do about it? Don't vote Kamala Harris. She is not going to save you. Don't do it. It's not going to help you a bit. In fact, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Is it racist for me to mispronounce her name, or does she just deserve it? Because she doesn't deserve to be recognized. She's supposed to be the border czar and has done nothing. Nothing. Oh, wait. The most we've seen of Kamala Harris, the most we've heard from her is, well, she's now going to campaign to be president. She's done nothing but hide, because she is a moron, folks. She's known for her famous word salads that no one can understand. In fact, Kamala Harris has now shared with us a new world salad, and she gave it to high school students in Georgia. She's kicking off her campaign with Twinkle Toes Timmy Walls. And she shared, imagine being a high school student and a candidate for the president of the United States is speaking to you and making absolutely no fucking sense at all. This is the trouble we're in. If she can't speak English, folks, in a comprehensible way, what makes any of us think that she even understands the fucking role as the border czar? Well, anyways, this is Kamala Harris in her own words, speaking to high school students. You are leaders. Now, right off the bat, they're not. They're kids. They aren't young adults. They're minors. They're teenagers. They're not leaders. They're kids. Fucking lies to them right off the bat, blowing smoke up their ass and trying to make them feel more important than they are. They are just kids. You are leaders. By the very fact that you all are here in this room doing what you do at this incredible school, doing it as one big team, understanding all of the different parts that fit together to create a team. Did that make any sense to you? Let me continue. You are doing some of the best work anybody can do. And we so proud of you. We will counting on you. Your generation, all that you guys stand for, everything you have at stake is what is going to propel our country into the next era of what we can do and what we can do. That's a quote from the great communist Harris. That is awful. I mean, why is she even talking? Absolutely awful. Oh, folks, it is Thursday. It is hit the fan. This is the Prepared Mind channel. Get your questions down below. Uman is in the comment section with the big blue wrench, and he's going to help get everyone lined out, get all the questions up. An awful lot of crap has happened today, folks. An awful lot of crap has happened today. And we don't have a government in place. No, we don't. We don't have a government in place, period. If we had a government in place, would we be having these troubles? No, absolutely not. Understand, folks, only you are going to be able to protect you. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense. Now, I want you to take a wild guess. I brought it back yesterday, and Darcy T has checked in and made sure I had plenty of information. So let's do that now. All right. This could be the same guy I mentioned yesterday, but I mentioned a Brazilian soccer team. This time it's a Uruguayan soccer player, and he is in his 20s, and he died on the field. He had an irregular heartbeat the prior week. The hospital said that he had died as a result of brain death following a cardiopulmonary arrest associated with his cardiac arrhythmia. Wow, this guy was actually jacked up this much, multiple issues. Brain death. Brain death is usually when someone's dead. See, if you've got a brain and there's electrical activity in it, you are alive. Oh, wait a minute. Does that count? What about babies? What about fetuses? They have little brains in their little heads with electrical activity in them. Are they alive? Well, once your heartbeat stops, once your brain activity is dead as a oxygenated human, well, then you're dead. Otherwise, you're alive. Now, I'm changing subjects. I know abortion snuck into this, but the Jim Jones juice. This sounds just about right. It never rests, according to Darcy T. It's out there. Yeah, not good when a super athlete in his 20s, professional sports athlete, says, I'm not feeling so good. I got an irregular heartbeat. Cardiac arrhythmia. And cardiopulmonary arrest. That means heart and lungs failed. Cardiac arrest is heart failure. Cardiopulmonary arrest. His entire system shut down. What an awful thing. But don't worry. Don't worry. Dr. Fauci's on your side. Let's do this again. Let's go after and get another famous person. Darcy says she'll give us 3 guesses to figure out what killed this guy. I only need 1. Julian Ortega, a famous actor in Spain, has died reportedly collapsing on a beach. He was 41 years old. Yeah, when I go to the beach, I tend to have a cardiac arrest. I tend to keel over. I tend to die, because sitting on a lawn chair or on a towel, enjoying the breeze, the water, the sand, the surf, the sights, the beverages, that's pretty hard work. I mean, I could see an athlete running around having a heart attack, because that's hard work. This guy's just laying around on a fucking beach and dies. 1 guess for me. I'm going to take a shot at it, Darcy, and say Jim Jones juice. Wow. Wow. Just crazy. Now, this was a huge deal today. Huge deal today. We've got more fear porn. Fear, folks. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Because we've now been informed that Americans like me and you have, quote, little to no pre-existing immunity. End quote. Little to no pre-existing immunity. Americans have little to no existing immunity to bird flu that's in the United States of America. Has anyone seen thousands of people going to hospitals in any city? Has anyone seen thousands of people dying from bird flu? Folks, look, years ago, there was an air show in Reno, and a friend of mine worked at a Reno hospital. At the air show, a plane crashed. Air races, Reno air races. Plane crashed, and portions of the airplane went into the crowd, killed a bunch of people, fucked a bunch of people up. They rushed them all to the local hospitals, and there weren't enough doctors to care for a few people, a relatively small handful, a couple dozen people in an emergency situation. It overwhelmed them. If bird flu was this big of a deal, hospitals would be overwhelmed. But don't worry, this is just about fear porn. Government controlling you. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, it has hit the fan, folks. Government is failing. We have illegals running around in our country. We have Democrats trying to destroy our country. We have Antifa, BLM, pro-Palestinian Hamas types, as well as gangs from south of the border, from Mexico, Central America, South America. We have weak points. I have to ask you this. What is a weak point in your world? Some people live on, let's just say, an island or a peninsula where there's only one bridge. And so that creates kind of a stranglehold, a weak point. That's their weakness. What is your weakness? I say we have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. If you can take care of yourself, you have no weak point, right? If someone's out to kill you and they kill you, yeah, it's because, it's your time. But for the most part, you can eat, you can drink. You've got medication. You can protect yourself and others. You don't have weak points. You are on level, even footing with others. But America in general is full of weak points. And I'm going to point one out. We need to understand how exposed we are. We have lived in this bubble, this cocoon in the United States of America, thinking we're always safe. Thinking we're always safe because people are civilized. People know how to behave. They respect one another to a rather normal, understandable, acceptable level. Those days are over. You need to understand that we are now in massive, massive trouble. Illegal immigrants, armed, were caught. They were attempting to get on a school bus, actually a couple of school buses, that were filled with our American children. This is down in SoCal, down in Southern California. Yeah, parents were worried. You think so? This is a weak point. Children are a weak point, right? We need to be prepared for when terrorists and illegal aliens want to come after our kids. They're not just going to kidnap one or two here, folks. They're going to get busloads of kids. They're going to take over schools. Do you see what I'm talking about here? We are now at risk of this. They're taking over apartment buildings. They're taking over stores. They're taking over the streets in multiple cities around this country and a hell of a lot more over in Europe. They're showing us exactly what they want. And our children are a weak spot for us. Children are small. They're innocent, they're weak, they're incapable of protecting themselves, as well as incapable of thinking like an intelligent adult. But, go ahead and cut your genitals off, kids. That's a great idea. But we need to be prepared, folks. They're going to come after the kids. That's a weak point. They can take over a busload of kids and hold them as hostages. They can take over a busload of kids and make ridiculous demands. And we want our kids back. They can make demands for money, for food. They may want a territory in California. How about the Santa Monica area? Watch, folks, watch Demolition Man, starring Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Great movie about a dystopian future when it takes a badass American from our time all the way into the future, where there's a bunch of milquetoast, candy-assed, feminized, emasculated humans running around who don't know how to deal with crime. And an intense criminal comes after them, right? But at the beginning of the movie, the bad guy has a bus load of people that he's taken hostage. Bus load of people. Well, they tried getting bus loads of children, folks. Once they figure out how to get on the buses, get in the buses, stop the buses, take over the buses, get in the schools, take over the schools, it's over. There's really not any shopping malls left in this country. And the ones that kind of do exist, right? All it is a playground for thugs and punks in big cities to go and destroy shit. We have multiple weak points, and the bad guys are figuring it out. They want a cashless society? Great. No more money for anyone, right? That way we can just shut down all the banks. Can't rob the banks. They're more worried about the fucking banks than they are about you and me and our kids. What is a weak point where you live? Is it access? Only one highway in and out? 2 highways? A bridge? A tunnel? Is your power, electricity, an issue where it is, shall we say, precarious? It goes out often. It can be taken out easily by terrorists. It's that type of world, folks. Understanding that you have weak points, whether you like it or not, no matter what, we all have weak points, whether you're urban, suburban, rural, or remote. You still have weak points. I'm expecting more, folks. I'm expecting a lot more. A lot more. Oh, man, I tell you. Apparently, and thank you, Mr. Skylight, a biotech company that created some information for Pfizer has leaked their PowerPoint, and it is crazy. Talking about implant technology and 5G cell towers. What was once science fiction is going to become a reality. A reality. And it's not going to get better. Do you see where this is going? Gangs taking over cities. This constant cry of some sort of disease is going to kill us. COVID, monkeypox, bird flu. They're coming. They're coming for all of us. And yeah, I did mention children, and now I'm going to mention this. Well, shit, I mentioned children and Sylvester Stallone. Well, guess what? Sylvester Stallone apparently has a new movie that is going to expose, once again, child trafficking. Interesting. Jim Caviezel did his. Corey Feldman, another celebrity, has come out with respect and regarding child, shall we say, actors being molested. This child trafficking. Macaulay Culkin, a well-known child actor who is pretty fucked in the head. Mel Gibson, who is a big part of this, wanting to expose the Hollywood elites, the political elites for what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, where there's smoke, there's fire. And now Stallone has joined the cast of people wanting to expose it. How much longer until it gets out there? Till we get this Comet ping pong, pizza and hot dog exposure level again? Are people afraid to look at this? I mean, we got Jeffrey Epstein hung himself. How about that? Right? And his girlfriend, Jizzy Maxwell, and her book of clients. And then the Lolita Express Airlines and their logbooks full of clients. People that wanted to go to Little St. James Island and get their rocks off doing God knows what to children. But we can't know about that. They're going to hide those names. They're going to hide that book. And they're going to keep doing what they're doing and pretending it's not happening, folks. There's stories in Europe also. Of European political elites, business elites who have been caught. I think Jimmy Savile is a big one. But others who were child traffickers, who had basements in different houses and estates. And they were caught. It got out. The people were irate and it got covered over. These are sick fucking people, folks. They're all a bunch of sick fucking people. And they're not going to go away. They are not going to go away. And here is a new thread on this, folks. In England, the police have now arrested their second, not terrorist, they've arrested their second, no, not traitor, their second 11-year-old child. Arresting an 11-year-old child, 2 of them now. Why? Because this child attended an anti-immigration protest. Yes, that's it, folks, in England. the police can come to your house, kick in your fucking door, and arrest your children and say they are part of a criminal movement. They were protesting something. We're not just moving towards, we're not just walking towards, we are now sprinting into a Mad Max 1984 world. Tyranny is off the fucking hook. The Prime Minister of England, I don't know why he's the Prime Minister. He is a Marxist sellout, communist piece of trash. How do you get to be in power? It shocks me. How do you get to be in power if that's your attitude? Fuck my country. I want people killed, raped, murdered, robbed, and screwed over. What kind of government do we have when government no longer represents the people, but they represent an agenda that is foreign, literally, and foreign to the people intellectually? That's where we're going, folks. I mean, we've got one option, you and I, and that is to fight, fight, fight. In Brazil, they have a judicial asswipe. He's a judge. He's a justice. His name is Moraes. I'll just call him More Ass, right? He wants to get Twitter, X, out of the country. Get it out of Brazil. Well, Elon Musk, who owns Twitter X, he has posted a meme with a picture of Justice Moraes behind bars, right? Musk wants him behind bars. Good. Let Musk put his money up front where his mouth is and fight the fight. See, I think someone like Elon Musk has realized and discovered these bad guys aren't joking. They're not quitting. They're not playing around. This isn't an accident. It wasn't, whoops, we did that. Oh, geez, that's not smart. No, it's all intentional. All of it, intentional. They're trying to destroy every country. They're trying to destroy Western civilization. They're trying to replace the population of Europe and the population of America and Canada with this worthless third world shit. Can you imagine? I mean, just imagine the look on George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, Paul Revere, Sam Adams, but just every founding father who busted their ass, risked their life, not just the founding fathers, but all of the revolutionary warriors who wanted freedom. And if they were told, hey, 250 years from now, guess what? There's going to be a bunch of screaming Islamic jihadist scumbags, and the government that you're creating is going to invite them in the country so they can rape, rob, and pillage and replace the white population, the indigenous Indian population, the freed slave population. I put that one in there just to make you think about it. Wait a minute, right? Knowing that the country was at the time of the revolution moving to get out of slavery. It took a while. They were moving to get out of slavery. Good. That was a fine move. So why are we bringing slavers back in? That's right, folks. The biggest slavers on the planet right now are the Muslims. They enslave people. They even enslave their women. They're not allowed to show their faces. They have to be in a burqa, a smelly full body covering they wear 24/7. They are handcuffed or tethered, tied by their hands, tied around their neck, and led like sheep or dogs or pigs or cattle. They enslave their own women. They enslave children and take them as wives. This is what they're replacing you and me with, folks. Imagine the look on the statues of Mount Rushmore. If you could tell them that and they could change their expression. It's unfucking believable. All right, let's do this. Let's go to the inner circle. It's your guys' turn to tell me what's on your mind. I'm pretty sure we all know now the value of free speech. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing how we grew up and I'm like, yeah, free speech, no big deal. Hey, why is it number one? Doesn't seem like that big. We just say what we want. Who gives a shit? Now we're finding out is we're silenced and censored and penalized. And in England, you can be arrested. And in fact, in America, they can try and arrest you for hate speech. Sorry, hate speech and hate crime is not a crime. Someone's hurt feelings, we're going to get into a war. I don't feel like being arrested. They will not be arresting me anytime soon. Fuck them. Fuck them. Folks, this is what they're trying to do to us. Can you imagine that, right? Now we see the value. So what I tell you now is, here's your chance to talk. Share the internet address with people so they can come and watch, learn, and listen. Or is it watch, listen, and learn? Anyways, that's the idea. They better wake up. You better start using your voice. You know, the voice of reason that we can hear, and other people can hear it too and learn. It is time to wake up before it's too late. Mr. Uman, I know we've got a lot of questions out there. What do we want to talk about? And Uman says those anti-Como actors better not plan any trips when they're all on the same plane or yacht. Anti-Como actors.
That's Chomo, child molesters.
Oh, Chomo. Thank you, Uman. I appreciate that. The anti-pedophile actors. I know that it's funny. You can only write so much. That's what YouTube and other social media is doing. They want to silence you. So we have to use stupid words like chomo, child molesters. Yeah, they shouldn't be in the same room together. Thank goodness for social media. They can meet that way. But yeah, Sylvester Stallone's a pretty big name. I guess to Generation X, us Gen Xers. I don't know. I know millennials probably know who he is. Gen Z, they may or may not. But yeah, they get on the same plane, take the same train, end up in the same hotel room or convention center. I mean, they're saying now that the plane that crashed down in Brazil had at least 5 doctors who had been working on, of all things, a cancer cure, that they'd figured out how to kill cancer. And of course, anytime a plane or a train or something happens, people like to go, oh yeah, that thing had, a bunch of doctors and they were about to solve the mysteries of the universe. It's hard to know if it's true or not, but yeah, if all of a sudden in one day, all of those actors I named are dead, gone, blown up, there's something going on. It's easier to just kill one of them than to have to explain themselves to the rest of us. Mr. Uman, who is next on the Prepared Mind channel? It's Chin Music. And he says, Uman, the only gun on the streets the only guy on the street, you can see where my thinking is right now. The only guy on the street with a come hola sign was out front the other day, and I rolled down my windows and I told him to, quote, mow your lawn, you crazy commie. You don't work for God's sake. You went too fast, man. You have time. Every time some shitbag identifies himself as a Democrat, I make sure to thank them properly for their efforts. Pieces of shit. I agree. Give them hell. Fuck them. They're not going to send you a Christmas card. They're not going to give you a performance bonus at work. Democrats will in no way do anything to help you, your neighbors, your communities. Not at all. I have had to deal with one today, and it was extremely difficult not to rip his fucking head off and shit down his neck. Folks, that's the world we live in. They're out there. Let them have it, though. Let them fucking have it. You'll feel better. You might even feel a little guilty later if you really get into just berating them. But they want America destroyed. They're voting for America to be destroyed. A lot of them I know don't even have an idea that they're doing it. They don't. Now, let me ask you this. if I'm driving a car and I'm going down the road and there's pedestrians crossing the road and I see them, but I don't give a fuck and I just run them over. Boom, 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 boom. I just start running people over. That's a crime, is it not? That's a crime. I saw that pedestrians in the road. I ran them over. That would be a crime. Now, put a blindfold on me. I can't see shit. I'm driving down the road and I'm using Braille, the bumps and the bumps on the side of the road that keep you in the line. You go bump, 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 you come back. Go this way, bump, 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 come back. So I'm blindfolded. I can drive by Braille and I start running people over. Bump, bump, oh shit, bump, bump, bump. Is that a crime? Well, I didn't know I was running people over because I was blindfolded. That's the fucking excuse the Democrats have. They go, I didn't know Kamala Harris was evil. I didn't know Kamala Harris was a communist. I didn't know Joe Biden was a socialist sellout. I didn't know they were being supported by fascist scumbags like George Soros. I didn't know. I couldn't tell. I wasn't aware. I can't see as I run everyone over. So when a Democrat votes for a Democrat, claiming they don't know is no excuse. You voted for murder, murdering babies, murdering their political opponents. Hello, January 6th protesters, wanting to murder us. That's right, Hillary, Obama. Cling to your guns and Bibles, you deplorable scumbags. That's right. That is correct. And speaking of deplorable, remember that you're one of the deplorable, the cafefe.com. There it is, right there. That's a good coffee company right there, folks. Love me a good cup of deplorable coffee. Anyways, yeah, you're not allowed to say, I didn't know. I was blindfolded. I was ignorant. No, you're voting for evil. Well, geez, I just thought it was a red suit. I didn't know that was Satan. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Try it. Try it. Try it. There's our affiliate link there for Cafefe. You'll get a nice discount if you use that. Right? You go to a judge. I got pulled over. I didn't know the speed limit was 55. I was doing 90. I thought everything was fine. They're going to fucking throw the book at you. Wow, I just had a couple of drinks every 5 minutes and I didn't know it was illegal to drive drunk. They'll throw your ass in fucking jail. Yep. I didn't know. No excuse. Democrat voters, you want to vote for these scumbags? No excuse. I see a yard sign. I see a bumper sticker. If any of them are stupid enough to wear a shirt or just that Democrat look on their face that you can see, I give them hell. I'll even just walk by them and go, hey, voting for Trump, right? I just say that to random people. Try it. Say it to random people. Hey, voting for Trump, right? About 1 out of every 3 or 4 will get pissed off at you. It's funny. Trigger them. Free speech, folks. Free speech. All right, Mr. Ooman, let's see where we're going next. We got the slim one in town, and he's got a statement for John. Any presidential executive order should require the approval of 45% minimum of House and the Senate. What do you think? A slim one? I don't like that. I don't like any executive orders. I don't care who supports them. Look, if you can get 45% of the House and the Senate, then you can get 51%. A majority of them. The president shouldn't be telling Congress what the laws are. That's not the system. The system was set up that Congress, meaning the House of Representatives and the Senate, both have to pass legislation that then goes to the president for the signature, and then it can become a law, providing it does not violate the Constitution. And if it does, then, according to Marbury versus Madison, United States Supreme Court decision, any law that is contrary to the Constitution is null and void. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of executive orders. I don't think they should require any support. They should just be illegal. They should be unconstitutional. There is nothing constitutional about an executive order. The only place they work should be in Washington, and I don't even think Washington, D.C. Uman says executive orders were intended for actions that were so urgent that Congress didn't have time to convene. Right. So that's that whole emergency thing. Well, when government creates an emergency, people are scared. Then government goes, well, here's your solution we had in mind all along. I don't believe that any emergency should be justification for an executive order. Look, if we know there's a problem with hurricanes, then pass a hurricane preparedness law, right? The entire Gulf Coast from Texas all the way around to Florida and then back up the East Coast. If hurricanes are a problem, pass hurricane legislation that says something like this: in the event of a hurricane, Congress or the state assembly and Senate, Congress has authorized the state to take the following actions: send food, send water, send assistance, send help, send tractors. It should all be lined out first. Have the laws done. If you know we can be invaded by an army, right? Congress, the president have signed this law that says there's a military. I'm not a huge standing army person, but yeah, it's a different world than it was. So yeah, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, under the authority of the commander-in-chief, should automatically kick the ever-loving shit out of the enemy. How hard is it to make a law in the form of a contingent, right? Contingency laws. We have them already. Well, if someone commits a bank robbery, they get arrested and tried for bank robbery. They have, right, any crime that's committed. Someone steals something, hurts somebody, tries to kill, right? There's laws for it in place already. We don't need executive orders. We don't need them. But they created a situation whereby they said, well, it's an emergency. Well, all the laws out there on the books, they cover all manner of crime. They're set up ahead of time. We don't need executive orders. That's a setup. In fact, if you read executive orders, you'll discover that they give themselves not proper authority, but they give themselves special authority. Well, in the event of an emergency, according to executive order, blah, 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 the government has the right to take your property, take your fuel, take your food, take your land, and take you and make you work for them in any manner they see fit. That is actually an executive order that exists, even though I just paraphrased it. Under the such and such executive order, the country shall be divided into 10 pieces and governed by regional governors, yada, yada, yada. Does that sound constitutional in the least? Well, it's just in case there's an emergency, John. They have executive orders all set up. If they can set up an executive order for emergencies, they can set up a real law that is properly passed and executed under the Constitution. Instead, there's executive orders sitting there, signed already by the president, waiting for an emergency so they can go into unconstitutional action and, take care of things. Why don't they pass laws properly to address emergencies that could happen and make sure the government operates within its constitutional restrictions to perform whatever protective or prophylactic act needs to be committed? But it should always and forever be true, proper authority, Constitution. Lazy politicians, and they're not just lazy, they're sneaky bastards. Fuck them all. Okay, Uman, where we roll next? Badass Diving Frog says, hey, John, if they suspend the Constitution, don't they suspend their powers as well? Oh, that's one of those catch-22 type things. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You see, the U.S. Constitution, signed and ratified by the people, establishes the government. So if you suspend the Constitution, you suspend the government. The government suspends its own powers. So what are we operating on in an emergency where the Constitution is suspended? We're operating on fiat law. It is de facto. It's of fact. People who were, say, the president. Now he's not acting as the president, but rather as a dictator. The police are no longer acting as police. They're acting as agents for dictators on whatever level, local, state, federal. Bureaucrats who are already supra-constitutional scumbags. Well, who's going to arrest them? Who's going to stop them? It's just like with the FBI now. We're like, why doesn't somebody go arrest Chris Wray and charge him with crimes? Same with Anthony Fauci. Same with Merrick Garland. Same with Barack Obama. Same with Hillary. They should have charges against them. Nancy Pelosi, she used extortion to get Biden to give up his candidacy. They even admit it, folks. It's extortion. Using leverage to make somebody do something political. Now, if there was a threat of violence in there, that would be pure terrorism. These people are this far away from saying, fuck the Constitution. They already say it's just a piece of paper. Democracy is more important. We need to preserve democracy. The word democracy isn't in the Constitution. We have a constitutional republic. Crazy business. Yeah, they suspend their own powers, but they continue not as a de jure or legitimate president or a legitimate police force. They now begin to operate de facto dictators, de facto paramilitary troops who are here wearing their badges, but they are not legitimate. If there's an emergency that suspends the Constitution, then yes, their powers, their authority is also suspended. But they won't act like it, will they? No, they won't. Great point to bring up. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Who is next? And it's Heidi, age 12. And she says, I tried to sign up to be an election judge, and suddenly all the places were filled. I'll tell you what, Heidi, number one, I'm extremely proud that you took that step. You went to a polling place, went to the Republican Party and said, I want to be an election judge. Now, in case you didn't know, Heidi's up there in one of the northern states. It's Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan. If you know who she is, then you know which one. But up there in those extreme northern states, yeah, you want to be an election judge? Well, you make sure you give someone the right amount of money and make sure you have the right political opinions. I'm sure they saw you coming a mile away, Heidi, and said, nobody let that woman anywhere near the rule books or decision making. We can't have a true American patriot there. But do what you can. See if you can find another way to volunteer. And I strongly recommend that. Get volunteered. Get active at the grassroots level. So important. So very important to do that. Thank you, Heidi. That's very honorable and respectable. They are not our friends, the government. People in politics are not your friends. They're not your allies. They are opponents to be defeated. Kamala supporters are not Americans. They are anti-American. They are not to be friends. They're evil people. They are blindfolded driving down the highway, running people over, and they think they're just fine. I kind of like that idea, that discussion point. They're blindfolded, and they're driving down the road, and they're killing people, and they think they're just fine. All right, Mr. Uman, I know I'm an opinionated bastard. James Nicholson checks in and says, hey, John, is it possible the Democrats tossed us these two losers intending to go through the election for some wild reason? They are some really crappy candidates. Yes, the two losers that James is speaking of are Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy Walls. They are absolute losers. They are complete fucking idiots. They are liars. They are extorters. They are scum. They are sellouts. They are morons. They are indoctrinated fools, and they are Democrat candidates for president and vice president. Now, if I may, knowing the intelligence level and the un-American level that these morons represent, if they are elected, do you know what the point of that is? I'm not saying fairly elected. If we are told they were elected, we know there is never again going to be an election that we can rely on and believe. They are that fucking terrible. Those idiots. And for
Can I just interject real quick, John? I think
Yes.
Spellcheck changed his word. I think he's asking, did they put these two up with the intention of throwing the election?
Yeah, I can go with that. No, but I want to finish my point here, and I appreciate that, man. If they win, talk about demoralizing the entire country.
Ruh-roh, looks like something happened to John's feed. I'm going to just hang out here with you for a moment and see if he can log out and log back in again. But yeah, James, that is one of the things I asked early on too, was, are they maybe, is this maybe just part of some grand plan to get Trump back in here on purpose? I mean, how much bigger of idiots could you have found to put up there?
All right, man. I don't know what you guys have been talking about.
Okay, I was just filling time. Didn't want the black screen while you were rebooting.
I appreciate that. I don't know what the hell's going on. Internet, YouTube, StreamYard, Google. Anyways, the idea that they intentionally put these two losers in is another concept or potential. Because you're asking, is it possible? It is very possible that they know that these two idiots are not going to make it to the presidency, that they don't really have any better candidates anyways, which is an indictment of the Democrat mentality and party. But what if they know some wild reason that we're speculating about? Let's put Trump in there and then let him be the fall guy for a number of different things. How about the economy? The economy is wrecked right now. Right? When you're driving down the road and it's raining out and you see up ahead, oh my God, a big giant cow just stepped in the road. You step on the brakes and you just start sliding. You know you're not going to stop, but you have a few moments. You're like, this is going to fucking hurt. This is going to be a wreck. Oh shit, here it comes. That's what I feel like right now. I'm looking ahead going, the economy is a huge wreck and we're skidding into it. Right? How about this? We're going to be attacked by all of these terrorists turned loose in our country. 20 million some odd illegals to terrorize the other 300 million of us, the other 300 million adults. Well, how many of those adults are going to do anything? Well, we know 150 million of them will do absolutely jack shit because they're Democrats. So that leaves 150 million Americans. Okay, thank you, man. The next, so then you go, okay, well, what about Republicans? 150 million Republicans. Let's just split that number in half. 75 million Americans who are willing to step up and fight. Only half the Republicans step up. How about a quarter of the Republicans? A quarter of 150 million is what? It's 37,500,000. So 37,500,000 Americans with jobs, responsibilities, houses, kids, businesses, etc., need to take on 20 million illegal scumbags. You see how all of a sudden, if you look at the numbers, those 20 million, they could be being poised for an attack. And we have to defend ourselves. Yeah. Some wild reason, you say, James? That could be it. That the Democrats will hand it over to Trump and then just turn the shit loose and go scorched earth on us. Fuck the banking system up. Fuck the economy up. Turn loose the illegals. Antifa. Palestinian shit. Are you prepared? All right, Mr. Uman, let's do it. We've got time for one more setup, and it's chin music. He says, John, I'm old enough to remember when people survived heart attacks and Jake from State Farm was white. I'm that old too, man. Yeah, Jake from State Farm, he was white. Now he's black. And he's got the same name. How funny is that? Chin music says, 100 years ago, you had to go to the circus to see the fat man. Now you go to see someone who's in shape. Well, they used to have the strong man, right? You can have the strong man, the fat. Here's another one. 100 years ago, if you wanted to see a woman with a beard, you'd have to go to the circus. Now you just have to go downtown. Turn on the TV. Right? If you wanted to go to a freak show, you would have to pay money. Now they come to your school for free to get in front of your children and wave and wag their genitals at them. The circus, the freak show, people used to find that entertaining because it wasn't anywhere else. It just wasn't, right? Action movies from the 1970s, the 1980s, even the 1990s used to be a big form of entertainment, right? Wild conspiracy theories, huge, crazy violence, just ridiculous scenarios. That was entertaining. Today, it's reality. Today, it's reality. Watch an older movie, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You're like, holy shit, right? That used to be a cool action movie. Now that's fucking nothing, right? Again, I see that shit on TV. I can see that on the street every day, right? Some criminal kidnaps somebody, takes over a train, demands a bunch of money. Oh, you mean New York City every day? Chicago every day. What was the movie? Was Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. Guy goes to rob a bank to get money to give his homosexual faggot boyfriend a sex change operation. This is a movie, by the way. Sex change operation. At the time, that was a crazy fucking movie. Today, it's like... You don't even have to go. You don't have to rob a bank for that. You can have the government rob the people and then steal your money and give it to the faggots who can then go cut off their dicks and be homosexuals with each other. It's hit the fan, folks. Are you prepared up here? Do you have what it takes to be ready? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Tomorrow's Friday, and the Friday free-for-all. I've got a big training day. It is, I think, Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend. So Sunday Night Live will be suspended until probably Monday Night Live. We'll have a special Monday night edition. I want to get some fresh air and some exercise, relax a little bit, drink a little bit, get away from all these fruitcakes out here in the world. I hope that you get some rest, relaxation, training, and make sure you maintain the proper mental attitude, because it's going to be necessary, folks. It could be necessary because, well, some really wild shit can happen, and happen quick. I'll see you guys very soon. Tomorrow morning, 0 Dark 30.